Hello and welcome back to another very quick and brief video about how to use historic weather in X-Plane with ActiveSky XP and use this weather, this historic weather, also for Simbrief to get a proper flight planning and a proper operational flight plan with weather information that actually was relevant at the time that you're simulating. I discovered this recently when I did my Munich-Singapore flight, because I was intent to use the weather of the day that I was actually flying in January. I didn't want to use the current weather, which also means that it would be weather. Let's say you're flying a day, but you may have weather for the night, which isn't the same actually. So there are differences. So yes, I know with simulation we wouldn't take it that serious, but I try to be as realistic as possible, and I wanted to have the weather. Now I knew, and I think that also works on the FSX prepared side for ActiveSky, you can go into what's called historic weather. So for that you start your ActiveSky. You don't have to have your simulator on for that. You switch to WX control, and then you have the weather mode here, or you switch to historical weather. By the way, you can actually save weather situations if you're doing a flight on a specific time and day, and for some reason you want to repeat this or possibly even start off from it again. You can actually save the current weather situation into a file and then reload this. But in my case, what I want to do is I want to switch to historical weather. So now today is Thursday, the 20th of February. And what I do now is I pick a time and day. And yeah, so let's see. Let's go back to what I did in January, the 17th of January, 2020. And if you are directly reloading a particular weather at a particular time, you would also then enter here the time you want it for. So basically what it's doing now is once this is activated, it will download the weather for Friday the 17th of January, 10 o'clock. But there is actually a better mode if you're doing it like me. So I don't know if you have seen the video where I'm doing a 11-hour flight. And what I did there is I turned on force historical time to sim time. So this doesn't mean that the sim, well, this doesn't mean that ActiveSky is telling the sim what time it should set. No. Because that was my first thought when I saw this. It's the other way around. If you're running your sim with the exact historical time, that means that's what I did. I started up and I said 17th of January 2020 in X-Plane, and I gave it the time 10 o'clock UTC, because that was an hour, roughly an hour before I was intended to take off. So I set this in the simulator, and then instead of having to somehow synchronize manually, what will happen is as soon as the simulator comes online and your time is set, it will switch to this other date and time for the weather automatically. And the good thing is, during my 11-hour flight, what it did is it actually switched and loaded new weather reports every hour or so. So I could see how the weather was updated, historic weather was updated every 30 minutes to an hour, because the simulator continued to put the time forward, and it communicated it to ActiveSky, and as soon as the date for another weather report was reached for the weather station that we are close, it would actually download. So that was really good, because the weather was relatively realistic, because I remember what the weather was when I was in the real aircraft, because this was a real flight that I replicated here. And even when we arrived, everything was pretty much very similar to what I've seen when I was looking out of the window. So that went really, really well. And this is the way I use Active Sky. Now, there is another thing that you can do. I use Simbrief to plan my flights. If I want to do relatively serious flight planning, I use Simbrief because it is free. I mean, you're free to actually donate a little bit. And I do this actually every year because I think this is a great service, and I want to make sure that it keeps running, because it is, I think, one of the best services for us flight simmers available. So what I can do is here I can put in some flights. So this is now just some bogus flight here with the Boeing from Munich to Nuremberg at, let's say, the 20th of February 1620. What I will do now is I will actually change this to the 17th of January 20. You can go back in time also in Simbrief. Thing is, not too long. So there's only so much you can go back. So you can see this here. You can roughly go back, no, not roughly, actually it seems to be exactly 1 year. Okay, so you can't do something in 2018. But I think for the purposes that I usually use historic weather, that here is fine. And then I put 10, and let's put in the 10 UTC. And now comes the bit with the is inward to 26 right. We probably need another route. Let's pick one other route. Okay, so here it is. Historical weather, it says here. Disabled. Yeah, obviously, because it's using the current weather, probably coming from NOAA or other sources. I don't know. Important. In order to do what I want to do now, you have to go and you have to start download, install, if you haven't done so already. But I think this is a great tool, the Simbrief download. This comes with the Simbrief website. You can actually download it from there and install it. Let me see, where is it? FMS downloader, that's that thing here. Okay. I use it because what it does is it automatically downloads the files that I've selected. So for example, the operational flight plan that gets generated, I automatically get loaded into my AviTab charts folder, so I can pick the PDF that is generated with my AviTab. I put the Aerosoft Airbus because this kind of flight plan is used by the one or the other tool. Not only then FSX P3D, I do this because some tools are not working well with the X-plane flight plan, so I always also write the FSX P3D. And then you have all these aircraft. A lot of them are actually prepared, so I wouldn't use them here on this machine. XFMC, yeah, X-plane 9 and 10 format, and that's the other thing I use, so X-plane 11. Yeah, as you see, most of these aircraft, apart from the IXCG, so I could actually put in IXCG, then it would write the flight plan for the IXCG. Yeah, I activate those when I need them. So usually I only write the FMS flight plan, the FSX version of the flight plan, that here because that was used by some tools, and then the PDF. Okay, so, but that's not what we're doing today, because there is another function that I wasn't aware of, and I found out when I did all this flight planning for my Singapore trip. There's also the possibility to upload weather from Active Sky to Simbrief. And here's how that works, and I hope it will work now. So at the moment it's disabled. I could enable it. What it would do then is it would take an already uploaded weather file. So there's a big file that gets uploaded, and you can use this again for flight planning. Now, obviously, I want to do a new one. Maybe for the purpose, I should actually put this on the 18th of January. Let's do this. Okay, so let's do this. 18th of January 2020. Okay. Now, if I want to do a different time and date, what I do is I click update. Yeah, and there is now one thing that I haven't quite understood. That happened to me too. So let's pick another date. It somehow didn't pick up on my changed times. So let's try that again. No, it's still. Eventually it will actually use the right time. I just wasn't sure. Switch to historical. So let's set that date again to the 18th. All right, now I try again. See if that picked it up. No. That's the only thing that yeah, it happened to me too. And then suddenly it did work, and I'm not sure what I did. Click to below to historical weather mode for the date you entered. Yeah. It should actually pick up the 18th of January. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we haven't changed it here. So let's see. That might be the reason why we're not getting what we want now. Let's see. Now it goes. Yeah, you also have to update. Yeah, it's the date from there. Okay, then you say continue, and that's it. That was it. I have to bring both in line. So now you can see how something gets uploaded. It takes quite some time because this is a lot of information. It's exporting the winds aloft, and it basically downloads the whole day's data for that time. So all the winds, all the rain, the conditions, the weather reports from the meta stations and all that. Would you like to automatically select new runways and alternates based? Yes. So we let it calculate the runways with the new stuff. So basically now it will calculate the flight from Munich to Nuremberg based on the weather that Active Sky had downloaded from its servers and uploaded via the Simbrief downloader to here. And everything that I see now, and if I would activate that flight now, I would actually see weather from the 18th. And that worked very, very well. And it allows you to actually do this pretty accurately also with Simbrief. Yeah. Don't forget to turn on detailed navlog, by the way, if you want your FMS files to contain stuff, because if that's turned off, you usually don't get a flight plan exported. So that needs to be on for using Simbrief downloader. Okay, that's it. I can't really show you much more. Here you can see now we have the route and we have historical weather from the 18th of January, 10 o'clock, and it's enabled. You can disable it again, or you enable it again. And the thing is, as long as you don't upload another one for a new date, time combination, it will remain the one for the 18th of January. So it's not uploaded to your account in Simbrief, and it will stay there. And you could actually do several flights, let's say, on that historical day, and it would still be available for weather calculations in your operational flight plan. So I guess that's it. There's not much more to show. Really, really fantastic little feature, and I appreciate that so much. The Simbrief is, as I say, is one of the best tools that I have seen for flight simming, both worlds or all worlds, because unless you use the exports, you can actually use this for any kind of flight simulation that has somewhat realistic weather and stuff like that. So a really fantastic tool, and it has become that tool to go to. I have PFPX. I don't use it. I use Simbrief. I go in there and I quickly get my flight plan brought up, and now also this year. So that was perfect. I also checked on my Singapore flight, and the calculations, the timing, we actually landed almost punctually on time. Okay, I had to manipulate the time anyway, but it actually, with all this speeding up and so on that I did during this 11-hour flight, I ended up really spot on, and it was based on the fuel planning and so on of this Simbrief thing. Okay, that's it. I hope that was useful. Thank you, and until next time.